Good afternoon, everyone. I hope all of you had your lunch. It's our Ipsos On Air session again. And this time round, we are going to talk about EAP, okay? As we all know, the pandemic and the prolonged from home situation in Malaysia has impacted us in many ways, which ranges from anxiety, or some people even encounter depression, or some unfortunate one maybe even experience grief for loss of loved one because of the COVID-19 or other illness. So there could be life adjustment, relationship challenges, parenting challenges. During this pandemic, a lot of things happen, and this has had a significant impact to our mental health, which actually we should not underestimate, because this may lead to potential repercussion, and if we not address with it and take care of it. So that's why today we will have invited two experts from the EAP. I know many of you could have heard about EAP, because as long as I have a chance at any point of time or any touch point, I will promote EAP. But I find that not many people just didn't come cross their mind to reach out to EAP for support. It could be many reasons. Maybe people just skeptical that, what is this EAP? How can EAP help me? If let's say I'm having parenting issue, what EAP can support me? That's why we find that that's the need. I didn't know that I'm not on camera. I'm actually on camera. You cannot see me again. It's okay. Okay. Yeah. So I'll continue. Yeah. So basically, like I said, to some people, maybe this is the first time you heard about EAP, especially for the new hire. But some of our existing employees, you could have heard of EAP, but you just feel like, do I need it? How should I get the support? It may not cross your mind, even when the above challenges that I just shared, you may feel that, yeah, I'm experiencing it. It doesn't ring your bell to reach out to EAP support. Or maybe you have the perception that EAP for people who have problems, which is not the case, okay? So that's why here we are trying to, today's session is to share with you what is EAP about, and hear from the two experts, Ranky and CY, who is also the counselor, who has been helping many employees in the organization in overcome challenges, personal issue, and so forth. So without further ado, we will, as normal, we will start with some mentee questions to understand some of the insight from the employees, and then after that we will start the session. Sufyan, over to you. Sufyan, you're mute.
Hello, thanks Yifeng. All right, thank you everyone, and welcome to our sixth Ipsos On Air session. So this is our sixth session for the year so far, and as usual, let us kick off the session with a quick mentee meter session. Okay, can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. So before we kick off the session, I'd like to ask everyone, as usual, to go to the Mentee website at www.mentee.com and key in the code 9243-2438. Okay, so I'll just wait for a short while so everyone can join and participate. We have about 60 plus packs on the call today. Okay, let me just wait for a short while. There's only 3 so far, 4 people. It'll be great if you can join this quick mentee session to share your response and your feedback, so that our speakers today will have a little bit of a better understanding about about your awareness and what you would know about the mentee, about the EAP program so far. So it'd be good to get your feedback. Okay, let us wait for a little bit more people to join. We have 12 so far. So I'll just wait for maybe a few more seconds before we start the actual session. And I'll also, after this, give a quick introduction to our guest speakers today. Okay, so without further ado, let me start with our first mentee question first today. Okay. So our first question I'd like to check with everyone on the call today is everyone aware of the EAP program so far and the services provided? So this would be quite an essential one for our speakers here to know, and to see if you're aware about the services and the program provided. Would you know the hotline to be able to contact EAP? So this would be good feedback for our speakers today to find out, and maybe give a bit more details to be shared with everyone later. Okay, so So good news, Ranky and Shiwai, most of our employees are aware of the EAP program and the services provided. Almost 32 people on the call today. So that's, I would say a majority of them are aware of the EAP program. Okay, thank you everyone for the response. We go to the next question. Okay, so next question is, what would be your biggest issue of concern or cause of stress at the moment? So, as you know, while we are all in the lockdown phase and we are all facing another year of the COVID-19 pandemic, we all are facing different types of, causes of stress or causes of concern. So it'd be good to know for our speakers to be able to relate back and to be able to share, how you can actually address and, overcome these issues, or anything that might be causing a lot of stress for you. So as you can see, a majority of them are coming from personal and work related issues and also financial issues. So those are the majority. Work and personal issues about the same amount. Okay, so that's good to know. And this will be good, a good gauge for our speakers today to be able to relate back to this. Okay, going to the next question. Okay, so this would be open-ended question. This would be another question like to ask everyone. What do you normally do when you are feeling mentally disturbed or stressed? So, we all have different ways of dealing with, dealing with stress or dealing with something that might be troubling us at that moment. So you can see, a lot of a variety of answers. Eating seems to be a common answer here. So it looks like a lot of people might be stress eating, and bathe, exercise, listening to music. Yeah, listening to music is a good way to release your stress. In fact, I myself like to start the day with listening to some music. Get yourself in a good mood. Okay, so taking a nap, shopping. Yes, I believe that a lot of us before this is doing a lot of online shopping, but now that things have opened up a bit, you can maybe go out and do some physical shopping already. Exercise, watching drama. Yes, I think watching drama, watching Netflix is a popular one also. So it's good to see that everyone has different ways and different methods of coping, or or things that they would do to actually overcome this stress or anything that might be disturbing them at the moment. Okay, great. So with that, I would go back and give a quick introduction to our speakers now. Okay, let me stop sharing the screen first. Okay, thank you everyone again for your responses. Okay, so now I'd like to introduce our speakers today. Our first speaker for today, as representative from EAP, would be Miss Ranky Pan, and she has been with ComPsych since 2012, and she has a background in psychology with experience as a licensed counselor in China. She is graduated with a master's degree in psychology from the University of Minnesota, Twin City, US, and is currently based in Guangzhou, China. So she will be giving a bit of an overview of EAP and the services and on the services and the program that is provided by EAP to begin our session today. And next, we have our speaker, another speaker from EAP. So this is Ho Shi Wai, Miss Ho Shi Wai. She is the founder of the Counselling Place and holds a master's degree in psychology from the University of Newcastle, Australia. She has more than 18 years of clinical experience and is also helping expatriates deal with their various life challenges in Singapore. And she specializes in other areas of marital and relationship counseling, and also works with individuals on stress management, depression, anxiety, phobia, pain management, and grief and loss. So she has conducted many talks and workshops before this on various topics, and has granted numerous interviews with various newspapers and magazines, and has several appearances also as a guest consultant for radio and TV programs. So these are our two speakers today. So we look forward to hearing what they will be able to share with us in terms of how we can actually get to learn a little bit more about EAP, and also have a look at some case studies that we'll be able to have a look at today based on what's been shared. Okay, with that, I pass it back to you, Li Feng. Over to you.
Thanks, Sufyan. Thanks for the introduction of our two speakers. So, okay, I will start with a few questions with Ranky. As I just mentioned just now, the pandemic as well as the prolonged working from home has actually impacted everyone one way or another. And constantly, the company has been promoting EAP, strongly encouraging employees, to reach out EAP for support. So I'm curious to know, Ranky, what the Ipsos Malaysia utilization or usage so far? Can you share with us compared to these 2 years, relatively to the last 2 years? Do you see any increase in trend in terms of the usage of EAP service from the Ipsos Malaysia team? We can't hear you muted. Ranky, you're mute. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me now?
Sure. Yes.
Thank you, Li Fang. That's a very good question. In the first page, we can see the EAP usage trend for Ipsos Malaysia in the past 2 years. Actually, in mid-2019, when the program starts, we had a usage with below 2%. Then in 2020, the usage climbed up to about 7%. And in the first half of 2021, we had a usage over 10%. So usage is definitely increasing, which shows the awareness of people in Ipsos Malaysia is also very good, and people in Malaysia are very comfortable talking about EAP. I think HRT has contributed a lot in promoting this program, especially compared to our benchmark in Malaysia, which is the average usage of all ComSci customers in Malaysia. The usage in Ipsos Malaysia is very promising. And if we deep dive into the usage, actually 80% of the live users who called EAP for support were employees, and 20% were family members. We actually get a lot of family members asking for support from EAP, which is a good sign. Everyone at Ipsos Malaysia should have done a good job in bringing the message of EAP to their family. And we got 40% of live users were females and 60% were males. It was interesting because usually we will see more female users than male users in EAP service. While in Ipsos Malaysia, male colleagues are quite comfortable talking about their concerns in mental health issues, which is good. It seems the environment in Ipsos Malaysia is quite open. Of course, the biggest concern of live users based on our observation and usage report was stress, especially during the past 2 years. And this concern is quite consistent with our observation in this region, that in the past 2 years during the pandemic, stress has been the top presenting issue in the region. For those who went to our website, most of them were trying to search for information on fitness and nutrition. Again, it seems a concern on personal health is quite critical in the past 2 years. Besides fitness and nutrition, people were also searching for information like personal development, personal finance, emotional well-being. Those actually reflects what we've seen from the question and answer at the beginning of today's session.
Okay, so it looks like the usage has relatively has increased compared to the past. I think partly it's also the impact from the pandemic. People see the needs of using it. But how is our usage compared to other companies? Since you have access to other company data, is it extremely high in terms of usage, or how do you see us?
Yes, the usage in Ipsos Malaysia is high, much higher than our benchmark in Malaysia. Our benchmark usage in Malaysia is usually below 1%, while here in 2021 we had about 10%. The usage is high, but I don't take it as a concern of people in Ipsos Malaysia has more issues than those in other companies, because in the most part of the world, we did see overall usage of like over 10% to 15%. There is definitely need among people in seeking for mental health support, but in some countries, the market there or the awareness there was just not there. While at Ipsos Malaysia, either it was because of the promotion or because of the environment, people are much more open to talk about mental health issues than people in other companies in Malaysia. But the rate is still not, goes beyond our observation in other parts of the world. So I think it is actually a very good sign for us.
Okay, thanks, Ranky. My next question is, understand that ComSec is the provider of the EAP program for Ipsos Malaysia. Maybe you can share with us the background, some background about ComSec, because all this while my employee only heard about EAP. They may not know what is ComSec about. Maybe it will be good, you can give us a bit of info about ComSec, and also what are the services that you provide? Yeah.
Surely, Fang. Well, I'll introduce a little bit on who is behind your EAP program. ComSec is the world's largest EAP provider, and we are now working with Ipsos APAC, Europe, Middle East, and Africa to support EAP service. We have a quite broad network covering more than 55,000 organizations in over 100 million individuals in over 170 countries. Back to our service in Malaysia, we work with local partners to provide localized support. We had a local call center staffed with a team of clinicians, and the calls to this local call center, of course, will be answered by local counselors in local language, either English, Malay, or any other language works in Malaysia. And this local call center works 24/7, which means whenever there is a need, whether it is during weekend or at midnight, just feel free to call us. There will always be someone talking to you. Of course, it doesn't mean our counselor is available 24/7 to provide clinical support, because counselors obviously still they need to rest. But we will ensure there is a clinician there to answer the call and talk to you. And if you need urgent support, even after working hours, this clinical group is available for talk. If the need is not urgent, of course, we will arrange appointment at the time works for you and the counselor.
Okay.
In terms of the EAP service, I prepared a very short summary of EAP service. We provide counseling and consultation service. As you may already understand, behavioral health counseling or mental health counseling is a very important part of EAP. And in behavioral health counseling, we usually talk about issues like parenting, relationship, work-related issues, emotional well-being. It is equally important that besides behavioral health counseling, we also provide legal guidance and financial guidance. I'm not sure how well you know legal and financial consultation in EAP. Usually what I know is not a lot of people understand the legal and financial benefits in EAP program. We will if we got a chance, we will have much deeper introduction on how legal and financial consultation works today. An EAP program is not only available for employees, but also available for family members living in the same household. For family members living in the same household, it could be our partners, our spouse, our kids, or if we live in a big family, then it could cover our parents, in-laws, or even siblings living together. If you have domestic helpers living with you together, then we can definitely cover the domestic helpers. Ipsos has been very generous to upgrade the program model from 3 sessions to 6 sessions, and Ipsos covers all the costs happening in EAP. Individuals, either employees or family members, doesn't need to pay anything for the service they received. And more importantly, all the conversation with EAP will be strictly confidential. We will not disclose any information about individual case to Ipsos, to your HR, to your manager, or even your family member. You could feel free to talk whatever need to be talked with our counselor, because all the conversation will be protected.
Thanks, Ranky. Yes, that one I can vouch for that. Basically, I wouldn't know who other people have called, ComSec or EAP. Even I tried to ask, what are the issue and all this. They're just very professional and not sharing any details. Okay, I think we need to do that because we need to respect the privacy. So my next question to you is, what do you think that is important EAP to the employees? Important to provide EAP to employee, and can you share with my employees the type of services that EAP is providing and how to reach out to EAP? Because I think most of the time employees, my employees knows that there is EAP service, but how to reach out to them? What do they need to do? I think it would be good to hear from you. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I'm glad to have a very detailed introduction on EAP. First, let's start from why do companies provide EAP? Why does Ipsos provide EAP? Why does EAP why is EAP important? I believe in the past, at least in the past 2 years, we all experience that we will have challenging sometime in our life. And when we have challenges, we may have some emotional response or behavioral change as a reaction to the challenging we are facing. And those emotional response and behavioral change might bring an impact to our work and life. And we may not be able to enjoy our life if we have some issue going on, right? That's why we have EAP program. With EAP program, what we are trying to achieve is to provide you free, professional, and easily accessible resources to work with you together to go through the difficult times and bring you back to the normal life. We hope with the support of EAP, you will be able to, prevent small problems in your life from becoming big one. You will be able to work on the emotional issues, on the personal issues or work-related issues, and you will be able to be energetic and be ready to enjoy the life. That's the value of EAP program. And in terms of different benefits available in the program, as I mentioned, behavioral health counseling is probably the most important part of EAP program. We used to have a 3-session model, which means everyone has 3 sessions per person per issue per year at the beginning of the program. And then later on, episodes upgrade the program to 6 sessions and provide you more support, of course. For behavioral health counseling, we could provide either face-to-face counseling or telephonic counseling support. Usually, it depends on the client's preference on whether they want to go to face-to-face counseling or telephonic counseling. But in the past 2 years, of course, most of the counseling services happened online or either over phone. And we offer 6 sessions per issue per person per year, regardless the mode, whether it is online or face-to-face or telephone. It means for each topic, like today I came to EAP for parenting issue. So for the topic of parenting issue, I could have 6 sessions in a year. Probably after a month, I feel much better in handling parenting challenges, but I have another work-related issue. I was quite anxious in work-life balance recently. Since the topic of work-life balance will be a new topic, and for the new topic, I can still have 6 sessions. From the example, you may already notice that the number of topics in a year is unlimited. For each topic, we are trying to provide something valuable within 6 sessions. For counseling service, usually 1 session will last for 50 minutes to 1 hour. And in most cases, we will have 1 session per week. Of course, there is always exceptions based on the nature of the case and the judgment of the counselor. In counseling service, we are seeing quite a lot of stress-related concerns recently. And we are also got quite a lot of requests on parenting, family issues, work-related issues, grief and loss, especially during COVID-19. And if there is need on substance abuse issue, we are here to provide support. And we are open to a discussion on elderly care either. The topics I listed here are just examples. We don't really have any limitation on what kind of topic could be covered by EAP. Anytime people feel stressful, anxious, depressive, they feel they lose control, they don't know where to go, EAP is always here to provide support. Besides behavioral health counseling, we also have legal and financial consultation available. I just mentioned that for counseling service, we could provide either face-to-face counseling or telephonic counseling. But for legal and financial consultation, only telephonic sessions are available. Our lawyers won't really go to the court and represent the client, but we can provide some legal guidance over phone. Legal and financial consultation is very similar, so I will talk on them together. We will offer a 30 minutes call per person per issue per year. I'll give you another example, like I'm having some challenge at home. I'm discussing divorce with my husband. So when I discuss divorce, the first thing I want to work on probably is child custody. For the topic of child custody, I could have a 30 minutes call with a local lawyer. After this call, I'm more confident in getting child custody, but I still need to discuss property division, which is a new topic with my husband. Then I can have another 30 minutes call with the lawyer on a new topic.
I think the reception of your voice a bit too close to this mic. Maybe you want to put a bit further. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, maybe you need to speak a bit louder. Yeah, because just now, yeah, it's a bit hard when it's too clear to the mic. Yeah.
Okay. Is it better now?
A bit soft.
Okay.
Maybe you may need to make the volume louder. Yeah.
Sure. And for someone might have concern on the 30 minutes time limitation, that what if I can't finish the conversation within 30 minutes. Usually I don't think we should have a big concern on the time limitation here, because based on our observation, most of our legal and financial cases will be closed within 30 minutes. And even if sometimes there is some exceptions, it is definitely okay. We have flexibility here, and we are definitely open to extend the call to 40 or 45 minutes. Don't worry about the time limitation. For legal conversation, usually what we see as top presenting issues are family-related issues like divorce and separation, child custody. We also see quite a lot of concern on landlord issue, tenant issue, real estate-related issue. Of course, sometimes there will be consumer-related issue, civil-related issue, or even criminal-related issue. For financial consultation, most likely people come to us for topics like money management, investment option. Some people will come for budgeting issue, debt issue, credit issue, or personal tax related issue.
Okay, talking about this financial support, right? I mean, it's hard for me to visualize how EAP support. Let's say someone comes to you to say, I have some financial challenges. How can EAP support? It can't be like lending money or whatnot, right? Yeah, so can you give us a bit more? How does this EAP comes in to give so-called the support on people who encounter financial challenges? Yeah.
That's a very good question. Of course, EAP is not a bank or a charity. We are not going to borrow money or give you money. We have a team of local financial experts in Malaysia to provide financial guidance. For example, if you have some challenging in personal finance, our financial expert will be able to review your financial situation with your income and expense. So we'll be able to work with you together to develop a reasonable financial plan. And they will also give you some resources, whatever local like government benefit program or local assistance program available, from which you could get further support or even get some financial support. Again, we are not going to give you money, but we are going to give you resources and suggestions on how to cope with a financial challenging.
Okay, so now I think I have a better understanding. So basically, you would direct us who to approach to get, so for example, someone who have financial challenges, you may introduce them to those organizations to help to do financial restructuring. And what can they do to lighten up the financial burden? And so something like that, correct?
Exactly.
Okay. Because a lot of times, people may lack of this kind of information, and it's good to hear that EAP has this kind of expertise to direct the employees to know to the relevant party to seek for help. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, good to hear that. So my next question now is, can you share with us on how the counseling and consultation session works, and how can we register through the ComSec website? So basically, is when someone who now decided to reach out to EAP, what should they do? Yeah.
That's a very good question. Let's start from the local EAP number for Malaysia. We have 2 local EAP numbers for Malaysia. Those are local numbers accessible from local carriers, and those numbers go to our call center in Malaysia and will be answered by local clinicians. We also have a website called guidanceresources.com. It is an online portal with a lot of resources like help sheets, psychological assessment, multimedia resources like computer-based exercises, audio videos. Besides the website, we had also developed a mobile app, which is called Guidance Now or Guidance Resource Now. The mobile app is available at Apple Store or Google Play. And the content in the mobile app is exactly the same as what we have in the website. The website and mobile app are just more convenient way to reach out to EAP, especially for those who are not ready to call EAP directly. I also provided all the EAP numbers for your reference in case you may want to, travel to another country, especially from Malaysia to Singapore. I know which is quite frequently happened. If you go to another country like Singapore, the local EAP number in Malaysia won't work. You will need to call the local EAP number for Singapore to seek for help. When people call EAP, of course, anytime when people has a need, especially to make an appointment, I will always encourage you to call us directly, because in a call we can do a much in-depth assessment. When we receive the call, our consultant will first collect some personal information like your name, your company, your contact number. We totally understand not everyone is comfortable disclosing their name, even if we explain EAP is confidential. It is definitely fine. You can provide your family name, name. You can provide the nickname or even a fake name. And after collecting your personal information, our consultant will also try to connect some basic demographic information like your age, your marital status. So the information will be passed to the counselor for a better understanding of the background of that client. Of course, those information are optional. If you don't feel comfortable disclosing this information, it is definitely fine. And then we will invite you to introduce a little bit on the background, what happened and what kind of support you are looking for. While you are making the introduction, our consultant will run a risk assessment to determine if it is a risk case or a normal counseling case. If it's a by risk case, we mean that caller has some suicide or homicidal thought behavior. If that's a risk case, we will provide risk intervention immediately. If it's a normal counseling case, then we will help make an appointment with either the counselor or legal or financial expert. And after all the services were delivered, a satisfactory survey will be sent to your mailbox to collect feedback and any comments on EAP program. The next page shows our guidance resources online website. I will do a live demo to show how the website looks like and how to register, considering registration at the website is usually quite a frequent asked question. We are not in the website now. It is a live website, and in the upper right corner, there is a national flag. If we click national flag, we'll be able to switch to different language and locations. We will just speak on Malaysia English page. And there are 2 tags here. One is login tag, one is register tag. First-time users will need to click the register tag and provide the company web ID, Ipsos. Once we provide a company web ID, the website identifies the user as someone from Ipsos. And then the website will ask you to collect the location. We will choose Malaysia. And the next step was to create your own username and a password. You could use whatever username and a password makes sense to you, of course, easily remembered. And of course, there will be some security question in case you forget your password. And once you finish all the blanks and click submit, you will have your own username and password. For those who have already had an account in the website, they could just click login to log into the website. I have clicked a demo username and website to share how the page looks like. Let's log into the page. What we are seeing is Ipsos Malaysia page. Of course, if we click the national flag here, we are still able to switch to different language and locations. And in the website, we have a question box for search. And below the question box, we have local EAP number here. So if next time you forget the EAP number, you can always find the number from the website. And the content in the website, in those boxes, will be updated on a quarterly basis. Most of the resources were sorted into the catalogs above the question box. We'll just click into wellness and see how they looks like. Like we have question, we have help sheets on stress, anxiety, all kinds of issues. We have questionnaires, stress check, anxiety check, sleep quality. And we have quite a lot of different resources like work education, work-life balance. So those are help sheets available. The website is quite a good starting point to explore EAP if you don't know much about EAP. And I highly encourage you to call us once you have explored the website and be comfortable talking to someone once there is a need. Hope I answered your question, Li Feng.
Yes, definitely. I mean, I think it's a very good opportunity for you to share what the ComSite or EAP websites available. There's so many resources available that our employee, if let's say they choose not to talk to the counselor, this is another avenue that they can look up to for resources, for guidance and reference as well. So since we know that we have so many resources there, let's don't waste it. We can maximize it and use it. So, Renki, this is my last question to you. Understand that I mean your counselor have been managing different type of issue that employees have experiencing. So maybe you can share with me some of the case study that EAP has done, so that also give my employees some insight. What are the common cases that EAP has been handling? Yeah.
Sure. Actually, before the pandemic, usually the top presenting issue in EAP is partner relationship issue. So we have quite a lot of different cases on intimate relationship. If one called us for support on partner relationship issue, we will either, depending on the willingness of the couple and the nature of the case, we will either invite the individual into an individual counseling session or invite the couple into couple therapy session. In such a couple therapy sessions, the counselor will most likely facilitate a conversation between the couple, between the couple, and help to gain understanding of both parties and developing developing trust. We will help identify the needs behind the emotion. What is usually quite important in the intimate relationship, and of course we will work together on an action plan to either work on the relationship or work into different directions.
Yeah. You may want to take down your mic.
Oh, I forgot it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Besides intimate relationship issue, parenting is also a very big concern. It could be conflict between the kid and the parent. It could be parenting issues between the couple, or it could be parenting issue between grandparents and the parents. Especially in big cities, what happened a lot is both the parents will need to work and the grandparents takes care of the kid. And what happened a lot is the grandparents usually spoil the kids and has conflict with the parents when the parents is trying to set up principles. When it happens, our counselor will be able to have a conversation with the parent and talk about the roles and the responsibility of each person in the family. Again, we will also work together to develop an action plan on how to communicate the expectation and the role with grandparents, how to set up and manage the correct expectation of the kid, and develop a much healthier relationship in this family.
Okay, thanks a lot, Ranki. This is really a good insight, meaning that EAP support is really cover wide spectrum of areas, not just the personal work stress. Okay, now I'm going to turn to CY. Okay, CY is a very experienced counselor and you have handled many cases. So I would really want to hear from your personal experience, especially during this pandemic, to share with us one or two cases that you personally have handled, how you have helped the employees to overcome those issues. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Li Fang. During this period of pandemic, so of course life goes on. We have the normal life challenges that we face regardless. So those are issues that people seek help for. But additionally, during the pandemic, some of the top issues are anxiety, depression, stress, and also very high on the list is burnout as well. So a few cases that I have, and oftentimes those cases are actually linked to those who are living alone. So for example, because a lot of places are still under lockdown, and so you're stuck in your home. That's okay if your family is actually in the home with you, but for those who are not working in the same city as your family, you're actually being locked down in a place where you don't have necessary maybe living support. So a few of the cases I had were people who are actually living alone, being locked down. So in addition to feeling isolated and lonely, so when they're feeling that, what they often do is they turn to work, they spend a lot of time on work, and this oftentimes leads to burnout as well. And with working from home as well, the expectation and the separation from work and home is also different. So oftentimes the pressure is there. So if you see your colleague online still chatting about work, then you also don't feel comfortable stopping work. You will also want to continue working. So with all this ambiguity, a lot of people then tend not to take care of themselves. They will be starting work from the minute they wake up, and then some will take breakfast, some will not, and then working through lunch. Before you have lunch break, we find our colleague to go out to have lunch. Now we don't even do that. We will work through lunch. We have lunch meeting, and then by the time we want to have dinner, it's quite late already, 8, 9, or some people say they even have it at 11 o'clock, and then they stop work. So if you're looking at that, so a lot of the stresses then built up. So when employee comes with that challenges, the first thing I will do is actually get them to look at what is happening, how they are organizing their time, right? Well, whether they're having sufficient break, whether they're having good boundaries in terms of taking care of themselves. So these are things that we help them do. We also look at the situation they're in, how can they still have social connection and support even if they are living alone, even if they are still under lockdown. So we will find avenues with them. So some people will then start trying to have online dating and all of those things. There are people who actually find their partners during this pandemic time. Dating during this period is a bit different. You actually spend a lot of time because you can't go out a lot and have dinner and have movie. You spend a lot of time talking actually. So that actually changes the dynamic of the dating scene for a lot of people, and they get to know people very quickly, very intensely in a very short time. So these are things and strategies that in a counseling session we work through with the employee to find out what works for them, what is appropriate, because we will not be telling them what to do. But what we'll be doing is asking questions so that they actually have some clarity in terms of these are the steps that I can do, I am comfortable to do to change the situation that I'm finding myself. Some other cases during the pandemic might be the parenting issue. So it's quite hard to try to be helping your kids to do home-based learning while at the same time you're working from home. So how do you juggle that? How do you draw the boundary with little kids who's at home and don't understand daddy and mommy is working? Because before pandemic, when daddy and mommy is working, it's playtime, right? Then suddenly now daddy mommy is home, but I'm not allowed to talk to them or interact with them. That can create some confusion and stress for the kids as well. So I think part of the work when we are dealing with issues like this, we help the parents maybe think of ways how to structure that. So sometimes we have parents draw very cute signs so that kids know that, okay, when the sign is at the door means that the mommy is working, means I cannot go in, right? So that are very clear things that very young kids they can understand. Sometimes we also help the parents to develop a timetable, a structure. So oftentimes when parents think of timetable, they just make them do study. So the timetable needs to be balanced, where you have some work and some play, so that the kids actually don't feel frustrated as well. So we have balanced things for kids to do, so that they also don't feel trapped at home as well. So these are different things that we work together with employee when they approach us to face challenges that they are having, not only just for the pandemic stress that is, but also other things in life as well.
Hi, Shiwai.
Yes.
Hi, I will continue to ask the next question first. There's some technical issue on the phone side, so she'll have to leave and rejoin the session. Yeah, some audio issues. So I'll ask the next question first, and while waiting for Li Feng to rejoin back the session. Yeah. Okay. So let me ask the next question. So earlier you just elaborated that AP also provide legal and financial guidance to the employees, right? Can you elaborate a little bit more on how does this work? For example, if an employee is having a financial challenge and was badly impacted mentally, now what kind of support can AP provide in helping the employee? And how can AP also help in terms of advice to seek support and to restructure the finances in that sense?
So I think for legal or financial help, so there's the phone call with the legal and financial experts, which Ranky already said. But with a counselor, what can they do? What they will do, for example, is to discuss different things about, for example, if you are having financial issues, yes, it may be about money, but there may be also financial issue due to psychological issue, right? So for some people, even if they have the money, they still feel very anxious. They still feel that I don't have enough. So on those things, we'll look at why do you have this fear? So some people, they come from very poor families. So even now, they actually, when we check through, yeah, you actually have the money. You don't need to be worried. Actually, you have the savings, you can all of that, but the anxiety is still there. And so we talk about how the experience when they were younger impact them. We help them overcome some of the challenges and some of the hardship that they went through before, and get to a good place now and be able to be relaxed and enjoy what they have now. We will again also not like the legal experts and the financial experts, we will not be giving them money. We will change their relationship with money, for example.
Okay, great. Let me just ask you also, what would be your advice to our employees to ensure that they get the most of it when they reach out to AP in terms of any of this guidance and support?
Okay, so I think to get the most out of the EAP, we would encourage you to be as open as possible. So I know it's not an easy step for you to seek help and try to get support. So since you've taken the step, try to provide as much information as possible to the counselor so that they know what is going on and they are able to help you, right? So sometimes when we approach a stranger, we become worried, can we trust this person? So we only give little information to test them and see whether they can help us. But given you have limited sessions, so you don't have a long time for you to work through with the counselor, for efficient use of time, we suggest that you be as open as possible. Just be reminded that everything is confidential. So even if you tell them everything, nothing will get out. Right? So being open and being able to provide different information to the counselor is very important, because the counselor can then decide what are relevant information or what is not relevant information, and then you get the help more specific to you, and because if you talk in the abstract, the counselor can only help you in the abstract. If you talk concretely, if you talk in details, then the counselor is able to deal with your specific situation.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah, Shiva, can
Over
you
to
hear
you.
me? Can you
Yes,
hear me?
yes.
Yes. Okay, I'm back. Okay. So, well, just now you are sharing some of the cases that you handle, right? I would like to share with you one or two cases or that employee approached me, especially during this pandemic, where unfortunately some of the employees, they lost their loved one because of COVID-19, or could be due to illness. So, and very often I'll encourage them to talk to EAP. But the first thing come to their mind is, what would EAP do, help me? What can EAP help me? Now I lost someone, I feel grief, I feel sad. So maybe can you give me some insight? Now in these kind of cases, how can you support the employees to overcome this grief and get out from the grief as well? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, definitely grief is a very big topic for people, and oftentimes people are feeling that, yeah, the person is already gone. What can you do? Whatever you do, it won't change anything because the person is gone. So and some people also have the mistaken belief that, okay, all it takes is time. So if you just give it time, then the grief will be gone and then I'll be fine. What they don't understand is there are different stages of grief that needs to happen, and spontaneously sometimes it happens, it may not happen. So going through the EAP, the counselors will be able to help you go through different stages. So for example, some people may be stuck in the stage of denial. So I have a case where because the family is not in the same city, so when the parents die, they're under lockdown, they actually could not go back and see the last moment of the person, right? So to the person, then where their challenge is in the grieving is that they actually feel that the grief was quite unreal, because this is no different than now. When I'm working, I don't see them and I don't talk to them, and so now that they're gone, nothing changed realistically. So to them, the it's very hard to grasp the reality of that person being gone. So in counseling, what we actually do is actually try to look at what are differences right now. So yes, these are the things that is still the same, but what is different now? Before, if I feel very stressed at work, I can just call and mom will answer the phone. Now I call, nobody will answer the phone, right? So as you sit with that, then the real feeling comes out and say, okay, yes, there are things that are the same, but the reality is there are things that are different. For some other people, there may be other things that they are stuck in when they are grieving. That client, firstly, that I was talking about, did not get to see the person's last moment. Another client, what they do is the opposite. So the family actually managed to do video. So the person that was there video the whole last moment. So for the person who is watching it, so they will watch in front of the Facebook video call the whole time, because that process took a whole day, 24 hours. 24 hours, they are not doing anything. They just sit in front of computer and watch the last moment. So that's actually quite traumatic for them as well, right? So what we were doing in the therapy as well is actually try to help them recall different aspect of that person's life, because now suddenly they only remember the last bit, the last look of the person, and all of that is quite scary for them. What we do is we discuss with them previous memory that they have with the person, time that they have, positive times that they spend with that person, and help them to have a different memory with that. And oftentimes, quite normal when we are doing grief, is that as times goes on, when we are grieving, the first thing that the first memory that goes is actually the voice of the person. Right, one client got very distressed because suddenly they realize, oh, I don't remember the voice of what it sounds like, my loved one. And so what we do is, okay, discuss, okay, where we can track that, how we can find it. So do you have some videos that you can go and look again so that you can recall their voice? Because visual, usually they still have photo, all of that, so it's less easily to, whereas the voice is harder. We also try to get them to think about what are often things that the person would say so that they can help recall how they can remember, oh, this person usually when this kind of thing happen, they will say this, and this is how they sound like when they are talking about it. So there are different things that we are doing in the grief counseling to help them. Some people, they have unresolved issues, so even though the person died, but the person didn't treat me very well, so do I grieve for the person, do I not grieve for the person, right? So that there are conflict and struggle. So grieving is not such a simple and straightforward thing. So it's not that, okay, I just leave you alone and then you take time and then you get out of the grief, right? And sometimes, and oftentimes the support we have for grief is just at the beginning, right? After the funeral, then suddenly no more support for us, right? And it becomes quite hard and lonely to go through that process. The counselor actually can help be the person to support you.
Okay, thanks a lot. I think this is definitely a very good insight. Okay, my last question to you is, what were the common issue that you have encountered or EAP have encountered when employees reach out for support? Yeah.
Okay, so some of the issues that we encounter is sometimes people, they come to counselors, they want advice. So just to be very clear, ethically, counselors cannot give advice to you, right? So what the counselors do is we try to ask questions. So our job is actually to ask questions. We ask questions, help you to come up with different options. If you really don't know something, we also try to find the resources for you so that you get the information, and then you are the one who has to make the decision. You are the one who has to execute. Right? Oftentimes I hear my clients say to me, Shiva, what you want me to do is very hard. Yeah, because for my job is only until to tell you, okay, here is all the things that you need to do. Your job is to take it further and you actually have to execute what we spoke about, right? So that is sometimes what client also want to do is they want to keep doing the same thing, but they somehow want a different result. So I have clients coming to me and say, I don't want my kids to be shouting and doing this. I say, okay, then are you willing to spend time to train them to speak differently to you? But that means you also must speak differently to them. If you're shouting at them, they'll shout at you. But I'm very stressed. I'm busy. I don't have time. I cannot do something different, right? So expecting this different result if you're doing the same thing is not going to be very helpful. And also just now we talk about giving options. A counselor cannot make decision for you, right? Sometimes clients, they are very stuck. They are facing different choices. Should I break up? Should I not break up? And then they want the counselor to tell me what to do. Which decision should I do? So again, we cannot make the decision for you. We can help you draw up the pros and cons for different options and which one you are more able to live with, which consequence are you prepared to take, right? So those are things that we do that some people may have different expectation for us than what we can offer.
Thanks, Shiva. But again, we are Asian, right? A lot of time people feel shy or feel uncomfortable, because this basically when they call, right, you need to display your vulnerability. It's not that easy. So what will be your advice? I mean, yeah, to them in order for them to open up to you, because if they don't open up, it's also hard for you to support them, right?
So I think for people who are hesitant and shy about approaching because this person is a stranger, some people will even say, oh, why can't I just speak to a friend? It's the same. Or speak to HR, let's go and speak to Li Feng, right? So, but I think the difference is firstly, your friend, even though they love you, they are not trained, so they may not know fully how to help you. Secondly, your friends, other people, they may have investment in terms of the outcome in whatever you're deciding as well. Whereas if you speak to a counselor, they are professionally trained, they are neutral, they don't have any investment in your life in terms of, okay, you must stay in your job or you don't stay in your job, right? So they are able to help you see through things without them being personally affected. So they are able to help you with that. And of course, you say yes, they don't know like my friend. Yeah, that's why we need you to be open and tell us about different information because we don't know. But you also know that the counselors, because they are trained, they are also able to read some signs. They ask questions in a way that maybe get even more information about you than other people. that so some clients, one client that I had, they come in as a couple, right? The husband cried in my session, and the wife was so surprised. They were high school sweethearts, so they very very young and all 60 years. And the wife said to me, the only time I saw this is the only time I see my husband cry, because even when his mother died, he also never cried. Right, so I think that level of comfort, the counselors are trained to be able to build the rapport with the person, right? So just take the risk, right? Your first step is to make the call, take the risk, and then the counselor, you can see whether they match with you or not, right? So you also always have a choice. You don't have to be stuck with the first counselor you speak to. If they don't work for you, you can also find someone else, right? So it's just like any relationship. Sometimes people click, sometimes people don't. Right, so that is an opportunity for you to work through that as well.
Thanks a lot, Shiwai and Renki. Yeah, I think today is a very good session. Both of you have really give us a lot of good example and sharing some, and even some guidance. How can we get the max or optimize the benefit that we can get from EAP? So the next now, we will go through the Q&A. I saw there are some questions being raised by the team.
Hi, Li Fong.
Yep.
Let me share my screen with the list of questions so that we can have a look. The one that I've compiled. It's easier for everyone to have a look.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So there's some questions here. You can ask the panelists.
So first one is, how about if the family member is sitting in another country?
I can answer the question. That's a good question. If a family member is sitting in another country, we encourage the family member to call the local EAP number in that country. If you have kids studying in Australia, call the EAP number in Australia, and you can find all the EAP numbers from the list, also from the website.
Okay, great. It's really convenient, to be honest. Yeah. So next question is, what is their need to seek further treatment? Do they get discount?
That's a very good question. That's a very good question. If long-term support is needed, we will refer the case out to an advanced agency or resource, but we will not have any discount. Any cost happened in the outsource, in the out referral will be between the client's family and the counselor or the psychologist or any kind of organization.
Okay. Okay, so and then third question is, do we get this? Okay, yes, definitely we will get this slide. We will send out the slide together with the recorded copy as well. Fourth question, let's say the employee is currently seeing a psychologist outside Ipsos. Can the person continue the treatment through EAP? How about if there are prescribed medicines, sleeping pills, anxiety, and medicines?
Well, if you are already working with a psychologist, it really depends on the case, because it did happen in the past that we happen to have psychologists in the network. Then we can do the case referral and continue the service very easily. In most cases, we are also open to work with the psychologist or counselor you already work with, even if they are not in the network. But it really depends on both the psychologist and the ComPsych on how we could work together. We are able to continue the partnership and provide support in some cases, but not in all the cases. And if you are working with the psychiatrist who prescribe you some medicines, then psychiatrist service is out of the scope of EAP. Even if we got psychiatrist cases, we will need to refer those cases to psychiatrist outside the network of EAP.
Okay, got it. Yeah. Do we still have any question? If the team have any question, you can always raise it now, or even switch on your mic to ask your question. Any question? Any further question? Okay, so looks like you have covered most of it. But before I end the session, I also want to take this opportunity to share one of our employees who have engaged EAP support to share her experience. For due respect and also to remain privacy and confidentiality. So what I have done is I actually asked a few questions from this individual, and I have copied down verbatim from what she has explained to me. Okay, so just give me a minute. Let me share the screen. Yeah. So first of all, I want to thank this employee, have the courage to share with her supervisor about her issue. And it is also something that the team should learn, especially those people manager. The manager has been very engaged. I mean, the boss, basically the supervisor, has been very closely engaging the team. Very fast, she spotted something is not right, and she comes to HR and see what HR can provide to support this team member. So again, that's why I say, first of all, someone needs to reach out, must be able to open up and share. And then only we are able to support. And this employees is very open to it. And once we introduce and encourage her to call EAP, she is into the program. And this is what her feedback. So when I asked what were the challenges you encounter, she said, I'm a person who is easily stressed out by myself and have always had negative thought about myself. For the past decade, I've been neglecting it. I did not realize the importance of mental health and how it can impact my daily life. Until early this year, I experienced a lot more stress at one go. Work stress due to heavy workload, tight timeline, lack of resources, low quality delivery from peers, colleagues, clients, high expectation, especially during COVID pandemic or work from home period. On top of that, she also experiencing family, personal stress such as family fights during COVID pandemic or work from home period, controlling family members, limited me time or space. I think because this individual could be staying with the family, what suddenly you have everyone at home, okay, during the COVID-19. Negative thoughts and low self-esteem, over perfectionism, etc. With all the stress and negativity in mind, it impacted my health badly, such as constant indigestion, diarrhea, constipation, loss of appetite, nausea, chest pain, insomnia, fatigue, and etc. Even after visited doctor and took medication, it did not help me fully. Then I decided to give EAP a try, initially skeptical of the therapist and counselor. I think, first of all, the issue that these individuals shared is not something different. I'm sure many of you in this call experiencing something similar or one or another, okay? And she also expressed that she was skeptical when she was asked to try out EAP. So what was the next question to her? How did you find the support from the EAP? I'm aware that my issue will not magically disappear after a call with the counselor, but after talking with them, I found that it helped and I felt a bit better. I did feel awkward and I was a little shy to share my feelings when I first talked to the counselor, but they are experienced and well-trained to guide me through this. The counselor has helped me to organize my mind and thoughts in a better way so that I can have a clearer picture and help me identify the root cause of my stress. Besides that, they have also shared some techniques to help me overcome and manage my stress, and they suggested some solution to face certain specific issues. Now I'm trying to implement the techniques and solution in my daily life, and things are slowly getting better now. So I also asked the last question, based on your experience with EAP, what will be your advice? It is important for a person to accept the fact that they need help. Then be as open or honest as possible when sharing their true feeling with the counselor during every session. I even cried in a few sessions when I'm sharing my feeling, and it's perfectly fine. So I hope this is a good sharing. To me, this is definitely a good sharing. What I mean is, I hope this gives everyone a good insight. First of all, it's okay that if you don't feel right, we are just human. We all know that this prolonged work from home pandemic somehow has been impacting us. First of all, you need to acknowledge it and speak up and reach out. Do not just sweep under the floor and it will come back to you, okay? So this is what I want to say. And last but not least, I also again want to thank Ranky and Shiwai for sharing your experience as well as the EAP support. I'm sure after this session, my employees definitely have a good insight about these services. And like I said, you reach out to EAP doesn't mean that you are a problem person, okay? This is not the case. If you need, just like you have cough and cold, you just need to get some medication to address it. You need to address it, you need to acknowledge it. You can't just run away from it. Okay, that's all from my side. Any more question before we end the call? Or any comment from Ranky or Shiwai? Okay, if we have no further question, then again, thanks everyone. Happy weekend and have a good weekend as well. Stay safe. And we will send this recorded copy a few days later, next week. Thanks a lot. Take care.
Thank you, everyone. Have a
Thank you,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.
Take care. Stay safe. Thank you.
Bye.